Hi guys, big hello from your intrepid correspondent in Australia. Had to rush back online after this week. The chopper in the background news flashes. And it's funny, it reminded me we had a very famous criminal in Australia called Chopper Read. And he did a Vincent van Gogh in the sense that he chopped his own ears off to get out of prison and into hospital so he could escape. And I think, who knows what's coming up. But a quick word of warning, should there be any Trump supporters left after this week, and one of you have stumbled on this channel, and you think he is competent to lead a country when he patently couldn't call a bingo game, I'm sorry, you're going to hate the channel. But I think the chosen one has spoken. Where does that come from? Is it the evangelical thing? Because they actually think he's been chosen by God. Is this the same God? Existential questions need to be asked. What on earth is going on? Now, with his peculiar unsolicited advice to the Jewish population of America, condemning them as either ignorant or disloyal. Fortunately, he won't lose the Jewish vote because he never had it. In fact, I think it went up from 71% voting Democrat in 2016 to 79% in 2018. So that's not going to happen. He has corrupt colleagues in every country, so he'll still have an affinity with some of the great movers and shakers and dictators of the world. But outside of that, it's looking really bad. However, Australia, with our demented Conservative government, have volunteered to help the United States doing something to do surveillance or intercepting or something with that Iranian tanker that's floating around the Mediterranean. We don't have to be there. We shouldn't be there. Why would we make ourselves targets for extremists? This bizarre affiliation that Australia has with America under any circumstances continues. So today I'm going to have quite a significant look on the 25th Amendment. That's why it was given to the American people, just in case you ended up with a crazy president. You were given an exit ramp. But will the GOP use it? I don't know. But if ever there was evidence, it's piling up daily, right? So I'm going to do a layout now. Let's have a look at this. I'm using the Russian deck. So, oh yeah, he's against the clock. All right. We'll do these first four and then I'll go further with this. Time is ticking for this. He's running out of time. Nine of Pentacles. Should be a happy card. Doesn't look like a happy man. This is napping, but not really sleeping. I think this is part of his problem. Biologically, if we don't sleep or we sleep poorly and shallowly, it actually erodes capacity, cognitive capacity. So I think he comes to the picture with a compromised, let's call it a personality disorder and be nice about it. But sleep is an issue, and it's an issue because he has so much power. Okay, back to the reading. The Queen of Pentacles, older woman. I've had her recently, Again, I think it's older than Ivanka. I think we're talking Ivana here. I get the same vibe as I did last time. I think it is the mother of dragons. He's got to be very careful because the card that's crossing his main card of time is the devil. Right, so he's got the devil card crossing time. This reading is about the 25th Amendment and will they use it? More are discussing it than before, but let's keep going. Okay, so a little bit further out. Ooh. This is a message that isn't altogether good. The Page of Wands. It's also someone walking off or walking away. I'd like to think it was Trump walking away, and indeed it might be. But at this stage, this is GOP who are really hovering now. They're really on the edge. Okay, what's over this reading? Oh, the Nine of Swords. This is someone on the precipice. Trump is on the precipice. These are really good cards for Trump. They really took it. Father Time, marching on, devil across. He realizes his own options are shrinking. So we have here a Gemini. Now, apologies to gems out there. I love gems. Please don't misunderstand me. And also, every sign has, a bit like the tarot cards, they operate at a base level and a sort of learning level and at a higher level. And so I think we have to speak to this because this is part of what the problem is with his essential nature. But the Nine of Swords, it's normally the hostage card. He's hostage to his own mental issues. So if we're talking about the 25th Amendment, I'll try and keep it within that framework. He's literally lost it. He has literally lost it. What is the challenge to him and the overall situation? This is Ivanka. I think this is Ivanka, Queen of Cups. This is a worried woman, okay, hiding out. She's come back from the camping trip and she's hiding out. This is the anti-Semitic stuff has to be swallowed every day and every week. Because on the one hand, this is part of the Gemini split. He has a Jewish son-in-law. His daughter has converted to Judaism. He has Jewish grandchildren. That allows him to hide behind the fact, I can't be Jewish. He's been kept out of jail for 30, 40, 50 years by really top-notch Jewish lawyers and accountants. So on the one hand, he can put his hand on his heart and say, I'm not anti-Semitic. He is just such an ignoramus. He just keeps trampling in and feeding into this anti-Jewish stuff. How does he see himself? The Magician. And also, if you look at this, bearing in mind the Russian nature of these cards, there's a Führer meets Putin-esque thing. He's so desperate to rule as a tyrant. That is his natural way of being. He is a tyrant. So that's how he operates. All right, so what are his hopes and fears? Two of Cups his hopes and fears that he won't be able to pull it off. It's also the card of the juggler and the manipulator. These two are kind of worn out. I think this is him and Ivanka. I think, see, this is right next door to Ivanka in this deck, crying. And this could be Ivanka and Jared saying, far out, how are we going to get around this? Right? But the hopes and fears in relation to Donald are that they will leave him. Okay, what's the environment he's operating in? Oh, endlessly. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So he thinks by treating lesser people, that would be everybody else, by being the older guy with the money and the power, people will just put their hand out and hope for the best. That's a best case scenario for him. Not the worst. I think it's going to get far worse. So, coming up, not good news. So, pages of news, someone is giving him news that he doesn't want to hear. I'm sure that happens on a daily basis. Let's just go a little bit further out. We're talking a couple of months here. Oh, this is him being frisked down symbolically, and or everyone around him being frisked down symbolically as the court cases come up. So, in terms of will the GOP come any closer, it hasn't given us a clear answer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do, I think, 4 clarifiers, asking the question again. It's shown us what is happening in his world and in his mind, but I'm not happy with it in terms of answering the question. The 25th Amendment. He has lost his mind and is on the precipice. The 25th Amendment. Oh, the love affair's over. Trolling over. Oh, letter in the post. And a trip. I tell you what I think is happening. His ability to charm, this is someone singing to their beloved, is now in the past. They've hauled in their pot of gold, that's the judicial appointments and the tax cuts. But now the letters, symbolically, that would be emails in the modern world, are flying thick and fast along with other forms of communication between GOP members. Biagio or the trip, this is more like it. On the one hand, politically, no. I don't think they're going to roll out the 25th Amendment this year. But they're running out of places to hide themselves. So let me just put these cards back. And I want to know if they're going to come up with a couple of nominal candidates to challenge him. They seem to just think, oh, well, it appears the GOP doesn't do much math, right? Because the base was not big statistically. It needed all those who were anti-Hillary to also vote for him. They're not going to vote for him again. It needed a lot of middle-of-the-road people who were just sick of the rhetoric. They liked the idea of draining the swamp. They wanted to give a businessman a go. But he's not a businessman. He's never had to answer to an executive board. He's never had to be accountable. He is not a businessman. He just has a series of failed businesses behind him. He is not a good negotiator. So he's lost all those. So will there be any viable contenders? And I tell you what, they're going to need them, because he's not going to be there by the time they run next year. Have they got any viable contenders against Trump? And then we'll take a quick look at Pence. Oh, they're talking to someone. Oh, this card comes up again. Oh, the unfinished work. They are working on this behind the scenes. The Republicans are the best at keeping a united front. More is going on behind the scenes than we have any idea of. So take heart from that. Also, don't forget, I'm counting myself in that as if I'm an American voter. We don't want them to put up someone fabulous and articulate and on the ball and electable. So the longer they don't do this, the better, as far as I'm concerned. So there is another kingly-like figure, another very affluent businessman that is being talked about. They're having conversations with him. This is that card again. They're saying the shit is going to hit the fan. Sorry if that's offensive to anyone. Before very long, there's going to be endless connections being made. We'll have to come up with somebody. Who's it going to be? I don't know. There's a worried tension to the shoulders here. This is the card of The Apprentice. Are they going to look for someone younger or someone more experienced? It's unfinished business. So, they are more worried than they appear. They are covertly looking for candidates. Right? I think the Republicans are in a position of like ice melting in a glass. Like really, they're holding firm as ice cubes at the moment and toughing it out because they haven't really got someone. But once they start to flee, as the economy wobbles, okay, and wobble it will, it was always going to wobble as far as I was concerned. But globally, he's made things so much worse. Brexit has made so many things worse. Let's have a look at Pence. Will Pence be president? I've looked at this before, and it indicated he could be there for 5 minutes, but we'll see. Pence in the actual presidency. Surely they won't run. They might have to. If they leave it too late, they might have to. Okay, Pence. What's happening with Pence? Same card. Look. Oh. 3 of Swords. Oh, heartbreak for Pence. See, we just got this card. Maybe some of them are talking to Pence. Maybe this is Pence. They're saying to him, look, you might have to step up if we go the 25th. He would love that. He's only been counting down the days till that happened. Here he is. Oh, waiting to meet his rent boy in a Four Seasons motel on his way home. Oh, who said that, Lena? What a terrible thing to suggest. I think it's now Pence. The horses are bolting. Things are happening quickly. It's telling the story. It's affirming that first reading. They know he's howling at the moon and he's on the precipice. Trump, that is. They're going to have to do something. Pence here looks very cool. This is what he's been waiting for and hoping it's going to happen. This is the Three of Swords, heartbreak. So, no, I don't think he's going to be president. And if so, it would be just a guardianship role for a very short period of time. But this is what I got for him before too. Heartbreak. He really thinks he's going to get there and it's going to look like he could step in. But no, they're not going to go the 25th. They're not going to use their exit ramp. They're going to go with Caligula. Now, remember a year or so ago, we were chatting about Trump being a Caligula-like figure. And instead of making his horse a consul, he made his children senior advisors, or his daughter and his son-in-law, same thing. But what happened to Caligula? Well, I'm glad you asked, intrepid viewers. He was assassinated and was stabbed at least 30 times. So I don't wish an assassination. I think that would be very chaos-inducing for the country. So please don't misunderstand me. I'm just simply reporting an historical fact. Assassinations are not good in any country for any reason. They don't solve anything and they can start wars. So it's just interesting, but I think he'll be politically assassinated, if you like. So, as I said, he'll probably still be there next year, but not by the election. So there you go. There's so much more going on. I'm going to make another video right now.